How you doing? You see the gameplay in the background. So, you already know what time it is. Pedro, explosion on these notes. I'm really, honestly, like, straight up taking Blasphemous HD's, like whole, like, intro. Like, I just miss, like, please shout out, like, I hope he comes back like that. I love that intro. But, like, nah, that bro, I hate it that he, anyway, I always reminisce, because every time I start talking, that's how I feel. But, look, I saw something to start. I was going to make a completely different video. I was going to go in and be cinematic. I don't know if it was going to drop today, but we'll see how it goes. But, look, this is just my, I don't know how long I want this video to be, because I can go really deep in detail, but Sparking Zero was the best for me. I'm saying it again, Sparking Zero was the best Tenkaichi game for me. Let me explain why. Now, I grew up with, I played all the games. I grew up with Budokai, the Budokai 2D games first, so those are legendary. Don't even talk, no slander at all on the Budokai games. Don't even want to hear it. Outside of that, you know, then I got into the Tenkaichi games later. One thing I've realized while playing the game, seeing the criticisms on Sparking Zero, after really, you know, the only games I played growing up were Spider-Man, Dragon Ball. That's it. Like, that's pretty much all I played. So, like, just saying until I, like, dropped video games for, like, 6 years, like, I pretty much, that's all I and pretty much all I still do. So, this is, like, how I've always seen the games, even before Sparking Zero dropped, and how I saw Sparking Zero before it even dropped, right? So, I think experiences really shape the whole shit. And of course, right? Life. But it's like, really, if you play the game more competitively with your friends, completely shapes your mind differently. If you played it alone, by yourself, I'm talking from Raging Blast 1, 2, Tenkaichi 1, 2, 3, all those games, if you only play those games mostly 90% of the time alone, you're gonna have a completely different experience, right? I think than, you know, always having somebody to come and play the game with you. So, when I was younger, after I got too good at the game, ain't nobody wanted to throw hands with me in my family, and they didn't even give a crap about Dragon Ball anyway. 2K, you know what I mean? It was no, nobody even cared about the Dragon Ball after a while. So it was just me. My favorite one out before Sparking Zero was Raging Blast 2. Raging Blast 2, I love that. The reason why I loved that one the most was because of how much you could change everything from the auras to, most importantly for me, is the difficulty. Because you can change the auras all you want to. Because people keep talking about how bad the customization is in Sparking Zero. But, like, change all that all you want to. But if you're playing by yourself, and after a while, it's only, the whole point of a fighting game, just also to give some, you know, to destroy some illusions here. The only thing you have in a fighting game is winning or losing. So it's, to me, the where you have fun is the battle, right? So if you're not having fun in the gameplay in the battle, then it's kind of pointless, because there is only two options, win or lose, from CPU to CPU to player versus CPU to player versus player. There's only two things you can get, unless you're playing Xenoverse and doing a parallel quest, or you're playing Elden Ring. Like, you don't have any type of incentive outside of just winning or creating something and then beating. So when it came to like playing like Tenkaichi 3, for example, because I spent around the same amount of time with Tenkaichi 3 that I did with Raging Blast 1, which is less than I did with Raging Blast 2, but I had all three games at the same time. And I just didn't like Raging Blast 1 as much, but I had Raging Blast 2, thought Raging Blast 2 was better than Tenkaichi 3, but Tenkaichi 3 is definitely way better than Raging Blast 1 for me. But Tenkaichi 3, you know, the biggest problem I had with that was just difficulty. After a while, it's not that hard, you know? Or if it is hard, it's not a unsurpassable difficulty, may not take you that long, probably do it if you know, after a while you're gonna beat it. there is like, and there's no customization. It's very like, there, of course you have the red Protara, but compared to Raging Blast 2, with everything you can add, far as like, you had like, you still had like some Protaras you can add. Trying to think back, but I felt like Raging Blast 2 did it better, or at least I like the format better. It could just been that, like how when Raging Blast 2 you had the point system, and you had like all the, you had the auras, the electric all around that, and that's something I still miss from Sparking Zero. But for me, was just adding more difficulty, being able to add health. My biggest problem with Raging Blast 2 even was that the fact that just like when you were to add more health in a team battle setting, it wouldn't carry over. So you can only add it to one character. So only one character, if you added more health, could have 6 bars of health, or 6 bars of health, and everybody else will still have 3, even though you may have added the health of large to everybody. But they did have a max CPU mode, which was pretty decent considering how easy the very strong was, especially when you add all the craziness to it. Watch my extreme, what's it called again? String Blast streams that I did. Those were really good. Extreme Blast is a really good mod too. Shows the potential of what Rage Blast 2 could have been just in that setting. And that's kind of what I want to talk about, because like a lot of the criticisms that I see with Sparking Zero, you know, I feel like come from the fact that the experiences of the whole games just are completely different across the board. You know what I mean? Like, you have, because I didn't play with anybody, so the Sparking Zero, we can sit here and talk all day long about mechanics and nuances and things you're missing, gaining, whatever. But either way, in my personal opinion, both games are just as fun to play. They both have just enough complexity and craziness to them that makes it really fun to play, regardless of what each one is missing. I'm talking just strictly in the gameplay, because like I said, there's only winning and losing. So either way, you only win and you lose. So with like when my custom battles, man, like those battles be, if you saw my last video, they be insane. You know, they be absolutely crazy because of all the craziness that I'm actually able to add to the CPU. And like no other Dragon Ball game has gave me that much control without some type of restrictions on like that specifically. There's really no restrictions on the CPU being able to add stuff other than just things not being there at all, like being able to move the CPU at the same time or some craziness like that. Like you can add double the Z items with the effect settings. You can add over 150 settings. Like it's, unless like of course, you know, I guess you could say that's the limiter right there, but like for the most part there is just, that's like why I would say for me alone, that's my whole essay why for me that's Sparking Zero was the best, because yes, you know, there may have been customization more in Raging Blast 2. Like, that's pretty cool. Maybe the fighting was better in Tenkaichi 3. I don't really think so. Really don't. But I guess in a competitive way, maybe it was better. But that side of Sparking Zero, or the Sparking series, if you will, you know, was never touched up on. The offline part. Because I know people like the Battle Sim and the Battle 100 from Tenkaichi 3. Personally, I never did. You know what I mean? Now, to be fair, I liked Raging Blast 2 more, so that could have had more to do with the gameplay too or whatever, but I don't know. I like Tenkaichi 3 a lot, because I played Tenkaichi 1 and I really like the look of Tenkaichi 3, but it's just the Battle 100 just really wasn't all that. I like the survival mode, that was cool. It just wasn't as addicting to play. I like the battle missions in the Galaxy mode in Raging Blast 2. Those were pretty cool. Kind of the same thing, but I think also they, like I said, Raging Blast 2 might have just been like, I really loved the gameplay. Plus there was like I said, there's some things over Tenkaichi 3 that has nothing to do with gameplay. Like I said, the aura effects, stuff like that. So I don't want to hate too much on the battle sim. It just didn't entertain me as much as just everything, even though Raging Blast 2 had less, technically. You see what I'm saying? But yeah, you know, I was never going, because people are like, you know, this game was never going to live up to any potential. And honestly, I almost could change this whole title and be like, no anime game will ever live up to the potential. All anime games will forever suck or something like that. Because, like, to be honest, we have too many expectations. You know, we have too many things that we want from these type of games. And there's just like with Sparking Zero, when the game first released, my biggest problem, glitches and bugs. You know what I mean? If anything that I had a problem with was things just being really wonky in that way. But I didn't play online, so all the changes that the game needed to make competitively didn't really matter. And honestly, I think it was the last one that kind of hurt me it hurt me and helped me the most, because it kind of hurt that, like, if you really dive deep in the CPU and custom battles, the way they changed, I forgot what they changed exactly, but something they changed in the actual battle mechanics for competitive play messed up how the CPU plays. I think they increased something, basically, so, you know, it just makes me have to kind of work around them a little bit, but it just, you know, it makes sense. But it also did help a little bit because they made super counters harder to do, what makes it harder to do for me, but the super counters are still really easy for the AI. They're always going to be able to do that. So you're the one taking the hit on that one, right? Which is good for, like, difficulty. And man, I could just go on and on and on about how much the improvements I've seen in this game compared to other games in just different ways that I was looking for compared to maybe what other people are looking for. Because I played Raging Blast 2, so I wasn't looking for no story mode. The story mode to me was the best mode that I had, because I played Tenkaichi 2. I was trying to do a whole playthrough of Tenkaichi 2, and I couldn't do it because just how sluggish the gameplay was for me. You know, but in this, and like I said, you see how, like, there's so much criticism you can give for all these games, and that's what I think is missing. There's so much short-sightedness in the community where I'm like, I see so much hate on Sparking, but not the same amount of criticism done to all the other games. And this is me saying that I like I said, Sparking Zero was the best for me, but these games were never gonna live up to the potential. They were never going to reach that, because I still go back to Xenoverse, and the only reason why I do it is because of my own character, you know, and I still go play Ultimate Tenkaichi because of my own character, and like, that wasn't gonna happen in Sparking. They added that would have been a done deal. It would have been a done deal for me. They could have added it and made it just as shallow as they did in Ultimate Tenkaichi. It still would have been a done deal. Like, what? Anyway, yeah, nah, that's my video though. I hope you enjoyed it. All I can say, you know, going through it all, I could go really detailed and make a whole hour-long video going through each game, you know, showing all the differences, but enough people have done that better than me. I just want to talk about how the experiences are really different and how that really shapes how people view these games. And what you did playing the game when you was young really shapes how you are going to see Sparking Zero as you got older. And I think people didn't like really think about that, because I'm not saying there isn't bad things in Sparking Zero. I just felt like they were always present in the other games. I just felt like the laziness that people talk about in Sparking Zero, the laziness they talk about, it's always been present in the other games, just in different avenues of the game, from the CPU being so I mean, it's weak. It's terribly weak in Raging Blast 2. It don't even make any sense how weak it is, you know. And then with Tenkaichi 3 just not having any real customization compared to like Raging Blast 2, or it getting like the hard mode really isn't that hard either. The story mode, I like the story mode in Tenkaichi 3 because like I like a short and sweet story mode, so I can't really hate on that, but I know some people do. But I will say that I like how many characters are in Sparking Zero and Tenkaichi 3, but I think Sparking Zero does it better because at least it feels like each character has some different feel to him. But that also may just be the way Sparking Zero handled its combat and how some moves just have priority, or like if you don't have this move versus this character, it could be different, or if it's this character's really strong. I love how they did multipliers and being I mean, they did it in Tenkaichi 3, but Broly Legendary Super Saiyan versus Krillin in Sparking Zero is not the same in how it is in Tenkaichi 3. You see what I'm saying? Like, I feel like if you get Krillin Legendary Super Saiyan, I said Krillin Legendary Super Saiyan, but if you get Krillin versus the Legendary Super Saiyan in Sparking Zero versus that in Tenkaichi 3, you're gonna have a way harder time in Sparking than you are in Tenkaichi 3, just because they actually try to make it anime-like. But like I said, I could ramble on for days about how much there are just different directions on how each game did something better, you know. But hope you guys enjoyed the video. You know, this is just how I feel. Sick of the slander, you know, of Sparking Zero. Loving the custom battles, loving everything about it for the most part. Really wish they had some other characters. Really, I can't wait for the more DLC. But I will say, after some crazy stories, and honestly, if anything I do for Sparking now on and just fighting games in general, especially Dragon Ball, I'm going to be doing a lot different types of videos. But expect Elden Ring soon. Elden Ring is coming soon. I'm about to do a whole playthrough of that game before Night Rain. So be on the lookout for that. Stay safe.